Mr. Richie, I need you to stand and please approach the podium. Mr. Richie, the court has thoroughly reviewed and considered the record concerning defendant's trial, including both the guilty and penalty proceedings, as well as the memoranda submitted by both the state.
This sentencing isn't just a legal conclusion, it's a haunting reckoning. Granville Richie, convicted of the horrific murder and abuse of 9-year-old Felicia Williams, now stands to hear his fate. The courtroom is dead silent, but the weight of every word from the judge? Thunderous. This isn't just about one man's evil. It's about justice clawing its way through unthinkable pain. A child's life was stolen. And now, the court delivers a response so final, it echoes into eternity. Stay with us, because what unfolds here is beyond chilling.
In the defense. The court has also evaluated and weighed the aggravating factors the jury has found to exist beyond a reasonable doubt, and the mitigating circumstances established by the evidence. The court acknowledges that this weighing is not a quantitative comparison, but instead requires a qualitative analysis of each aggravating factor and each mitigating circumstance. The court has assigned an appropriate weight to each and finds that the aggravating factors found to exist heavily outweigh the mitigating circumstances presented. The court finds that the jury's recommendation to impose a death sentence is consistent with its verdict and is based on the evidence presented regarding the aggravating and mitigating circumstances. The court agrees with the jury's unanimous recommendation based on its own assessment of the aggravating factors weighed against the mitigating circumstances. The court finds that the aggravating factors substantially outweigh the mitigating circumstances and sufficiently warrant a sentence of death in this case. Therefore, the court finds that the sentence of death is the appropriate penalty the court should impose for the murder of 9-year-old Felicia Williams, as charged in count 1 of the indictment.
The judge isn't holding anything back. She methodically weighs every aggravating factor against a few mitigating ones. And it's clear, the scale isn't even close. Her delivery is precise, but the emotion underneath is unmistakable. It's not just about what Richie did. It's about who he did it to, a defenseless little girl. This isn't a gray area case. The death sentence isn't just justified, it's demanded. Comment below. Do you think the death penalty is the right outcome in cases this brutal?
Accordingly, as to count 1 for the first-degree murder of Felicia Williams, the defendant, Granville Richie, is hereby sentenced to death. Defendant shall be delivered into the custody of the Florida Department of Corrections at the Florida State Prison, where he shall be confined until a date certain, selected by the governor of the state of Florida, and on that date, defendant shall be executed in a method provided for by the laws of the state of Florida. As to count 2 for the sexual battery of a victim less than 12 years of age by a defendant over the age of 18, committed against 9-year-old Felicia Williams, defendant shall be sentenced to.
When the judge states that the aggravating factors heavily outweigh any mitigation, you know the decision is locked in. But more than that, she affirms the jury's voice. She aligns the law with the people's verdict. That's powerful. It shows this wasn't just a legal technicality. It was justice by consensus. No hesitation. No mercy. Just truth, spoken to the gavel. Think about that. A unanimous recommendation to end a life because of how ruthlessly he ended another.
Life in prison without the possibility of parole. As to count 3 for the aggravated child abuse of Felicia Williams, defendant shall be sentenced to 30 years imprisonment. Counts 1, 2, and 3 shall run consecutively to each other. However, the 2 cases you pled to earlier today will run concurrent with count 1. Defendant is hereby notified that this sentence is subject to automatic review by the Supreme Court of Florida. Counsel will be appointed by separate order to represent defendant for that purpose. Further, pursuant to Section 922.105 Florida statutes, defendant has 30 days from the issuance of a mandate from the Supreme Court of Florida affirming the sentence of death to elect death by electrocution by the procedures required by law. Mr. Richie,
This isn't just a sentence. It's a map of consequences. Death for the murder. Life without parole for the sexual assault. 30 years for aggravated child abuse. And each count runs consecutively. The legal system isn't giving Richie a single breath of leniency. Every charge reflects the pain he caused, layered one on top of the other. That structure? It speaks volumes. Justice isn't rushing through. It's counting every moment of Felicia's suffering.
I do have one final thing to say to you. There will be no corporal redemption for you. And what I mean by that is of your physical being, your person. You will remain incarcerated until the date of your death is scheduled to occur. However, I do not know what your spiritual leanings are, and it really does not matter to me either way. I am very grateful that I live in a country where people can believe or disbelieve anything they choose, and that applies to you equally. However, if you do ever pray to a higher power, either now or at some point before the date of your death is scheduled to occur, and you truly seek forgiveness and redemption for the sins and the crimes you have committed, I hope that you are granted it. And I do still see the humanity in you.
When the judge says there will be no corporal redemption for you, it hits hard. Those are words that stay with you. They aren't just part of the sentence. They're part of the legacy. And yet, she still sees a shred of humanity in him. She acknowledges his right to seek spiritual forgiveness, even if the court give him none. It's a chilling blend of justice and grace. What do you think? Should mercy exist in sentencing language, even when the crime is this unforgivable?
May God have mercy on your soul, Mr. Richie. We are now concluded, other than I am going to read the note that I received that was unsealed, or that was sealed. I'm now going to unseal it. And it is a card, and it says, "I thank God as I remember you." 2 Timothy 1:3, and it's from the family of Felicia Williams, and it's a photograph of Felicia, aka Sugar Plum. And I wish to thank you all for this. God bless all of you. Thank you very much. We're now concluded.
Felicia's family left a card with a message from 2 Timothy and a photo of their daughter, nicknamed Sugar Plum. The judge reads it aloud, eyes wet with emotion. This is the moment where the courtroom transforms. It's no longer just a legal chamber. It's a sanctuary of grief and dignity. That little photo says everything the transcript can't. A life lost, a family shattered, and a memory that even the harshest sentence can't replace.
For the purposes of the charges that you pled to today, the understanding was that it was concurrent as to everything?
They are.
Okay.
I'm sorry. They are concurrent.
As to each and every count?
Yes, as to each and every count.
Very good. And he has served more than the 5 years on those.
Okay, very good.
Very good.
Yeah,
And concurrent with his other case?
correct.
Thank you.
As the hearing wraps, there's a quiet power in how every detail is affirmed. Every count, every timeline, every consequence. The judge, the attorneys, even the clerks are aligned in the weight of what just happened. This wasn't routine. This was a final chapter in a case that never should have happened. But it did. And today, the system answered.
And Mr. Brunvon and Mr. Harmon, I do have conformed copies of the sentencing order, the original.
Granville Richie has been sentenced to death for one of the most heinous crimes we've ever covered. A 9-year-old child's life stolen, a courtroom silenced, and a judge who delivered justice with both fire and grace. If this case shook you as deeply as it did us, hit that like button, drop your thoughts and comments, and subscribe for more courtroom breakdowns that expose the truth behind the gavel. Justice isn't always quiet, and we're here to make sure it's heard.